All right, let's get into it, folks. Into the factory for map number 1 here between these two teams. Newteam will be represented here by the blue side, and Space Vrath will be on the red team. And it's going to be looking like Newteam will strike first here. A close-up shotgun shell will be able to take down Amazing Odin and leave only Tomo of Poland in the game to start with. Now, he was pretty far back, so we can thankfully kind of wait a few moments here, get his opponent back into the, or get his teammate, I should say, back into the game, and they can regroup before attempting to push forward now.
You can already see this, right, from Space Vrath. They just take it a little bit slower here. They're not just going to rush in. They wait for each other. And Factory, it's all about looking for those smaller openings here because it's a little bit more close quarters when it comes to it, but it's a bigger map overall. You
can see Theo is going to be pushing forward with the assistance of the shield just to try and fend off a few bullets before they end up getting jumped on here. You can see Saldert, more so, just trying to peek through. They move through a destructible wall, just gank the first player. Tomo going down relatively quickly. They haven't seen his teammate just yet, though he's trying to kind of hide in plain sight here. You can see it's going to be Theo that will manage to take down the second player, Odin Thalling, and that is going to be the first full team wipe now, coming in from Newteam.
And this will give them a good chance to turn around and say, okay, what can we go and pick up here? How can we kind of stack ourselves into a better position to keep taking them down? It was that breaking through the wall and then going into the shotgun kill that was absolutely huge to kick things off there. And now they're really going to put the pressure onto Space Vrath.
We are going to see as well here Tomo moving in, taking down Saldert. Then we see the trade immediately after that. Theo moving in to be able to take down Tomo, so he's able to knock him out. And again, well, only 1 kill's been put up on the board here so far for Space Vrath. The fight's going a little bit further. It's not necessarily looking like a fully dominant situation like we had with the Reapers before. Saldert getting caught throwing his gadget out, meaning he's going to end up going down to Odin, and that means Theo is left alone here. Uses the shield to block as much damage as possible. Gets a little bit of HP back, but he's still on the chase right now. Tomo manages to hunt him down. He finds the response at close range with the shotty, and that's going to bring us back to a close game at 4-3.
This is a lot more competitive between these two teams and how this is working out. And you can see, right, they're trying to utilize the space. They're keeping their wits about them, looking from every side because Factory has so many open spots where these teams can come from. And you don't want to be pincered in and locked down away from your teammate. And you can see Soldier here, he's just going to look around and say, okay, where are we going from this position? Can we have an idea of where they're going to play from? They spot one, and now they go in for it, and he gets the sword kill. That's absolutely brilliant.
Nicely done by Saldert there. Needed to have a little bit of fun, of course. It's a pretty claustrophobic map, if we're being honest, as well. So it makes sense that he tries to use it right there. He's going to go for it again. He's got the extra speed from it. Slides right up on Odin and takes him down with the sword, too.
Slice and dice. He's looking to be putting the hurt on him and give him that little bit of disrespect play. But this is a smart play when it comes to it. And that's now a third one. Soldier, he's loving that sword, swinging it around. He's making it look so easy. But trust me, guys, it's not easy to do that at all. And you see what he's doing, right? He's using Theo, his teammate, to shoot them down, take the pressure onto him. And then he comes in and says, all right, cool, I'm going to go in for the kill.
So a solid lead has now been established for Newteam. Certainly not something that we can't see Space Vrath come back from, however. It's only a 4-kill difference right now. Now you can see once again here, Newteam trying to use their gadgets to act as utility here to give them advanced info so they don't just jump in without having any knowledge. And it seems Space Vrath is doing pretty much the same thing here. Odin still sitting back, trying to scope out players. He's got a little bit of a longer range weapon to work with. He's noticed, of course, that Saldert's like to use the shield. Saldert does get scanned out, so does Theo right there. So they're going to have to be careful the way they proceed here. So their opponents know where they're at, and they can start a path towards them if they would like to. It's looking like we're still going to see overall Newteam be the aggressor here as they're slowly pinching in on Space Vrath's position.
Oh, a lot of damage being done by Tomo Poland. He's trying to shoot it off there. Can't find himself the kill. But the pressure is being applied. Newteam now on the back foot in terms of health. How are they going to deal with this? They need to try and push forward. Tomo of Poland goes in for the reload, but the pressure is being applied. And Soldier, he comes out with a sword again, but he misses it, and he gets punished for it. Amazing Odin, able to get a kill. And now this is where they need to go in and solidify this and get a few more points on the board. As Amazing Odin, he's going in for the push, and he knows the last player is low.
Theo is so low, but it looks like he's able to escape. They're going to try to jump onto Saldert instead. He's got the shield out again, trying to work with it, and it works out once again, despite losing half of his HP on the push. Meanwhile, Theo's been able to regenerate to nearly full HP. Now Saldert manages to pick up another kill, I think again with the sword. They're taking down Tomo this time. And while it was looking like Space Vrath might have been able to come back, these last 2 frags here for Newteam might have been exactly what they needed to push them over the edge. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock here. They're in a great position just to close out now at a 9-4 lead, but they lose a few of their players here, and we are going to see them still take the edge. Saldert manages to get another sword kill, and they'll end it at 10-6 in their favor. Newteam takes map number 1.
Zelda, the master swordsman of the VR League of Space Junkies so far. That was more than impressive, and that's not an easy thing to do, but it was so well timed and executed. Very competitive, though, from Vrath. They actually came in and gave it a good attempt, but it was just that early lead. There was, what, 4 sword kills in a row that he managed to pull off?
Something like that.
Just helped him boost it right back up. Smart plays from both teams, but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
The pathing down pat, basically, always knew where to strike on his opponents. And again, they're using that gadget to give them advanced intel through the walls as well, so they could kind of predict exactly where their opponents were going to move in from. And then basically what he was doing in large part with the sword was basically meeting his opponents at corners. So basically, they wouldn't give them any time to react, because the second they would round the corner, he'd be about 2 feet away with the sword. And at that point, there's no response they have, except maybe trying to pull the sword on their own regard and trade that out. But I'd be very surprised if we could see a player pull that off.
And you can see, right, they would have been practicing that kind of play, because that is not something you just walk into and say, hey, we're going to give this a go. It requires some good communication. Obviously, like you said, right, using the scan, being able to see them and say, okay, they're going to be going this way potentially, but it takes some good guesswork and also some very fast reactions, and that's what he's managed to make happen. Very good there. I'm wondering, though, are we going to see a potential change in how the other team play now? They go, okay, look, he wants to use the sword a little bit here. Let's get our shotguns out. Let's wait for him to come around these corners and come after us and be close range to put him down.
We saw them try to do that. It just wasn't doing enough damage, unfortunately. They need to keep both of them together. It was the same problem where we were looking at them kind of getting scattered a little bit, especially towards the end of the game there, where we almost had them come back. But the problem was they got wiped at the last moment, and then it was basically a mad scramble because of a lack of time trying to do anything else for themselves. They got to make sure they keep focused on Amazing Owen and Tomo's side and make sure that they can kind of rally themselves together when it comes to round number 2. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a similar position probably, and this will start to look a lot more like that Reapers match. And obviously, we don't want to have that happen again.
No, we want to see it stay competitive right across the board here. But I think one thing for the Amazing Odin, there was one position where he'd picked himself up a good amount of gold armor himself, and then he was just too far away from Tomo. So it meant that Tomo went down, and then even if he did have the extra armor, it wasn't able to be beneficial for him. So I think that's one thing that they're going to have to work on. If we are going to go for this kind of plays, if we are going to sit there and try and say, hey, look, we are going to try and get ourselves boosted up to make sure we do have the armor to fight on a better level here, let's try and stick together. Let's try and work out our positions, because they cannot go into these 1v2 situations. It's just not going to work out for them.
Nope, not at all. So once more, folks, in case you're wondering what's going on here, we're just waiting for the players themselves to get the lobby readied up one more time. So that's the little bit of delay here in between the maps. We should be jumping into it as soon as possible. We have all 4 players in the lobby as far as I can tell. So just a matter of getting them set up and getting the right map selection locked in, and then we'll be good to go for the next one, which could potentially end the series again if things end up going in Newteam's favor once more. But reminder, it's best of 3, so we could have 2 more coming up for you on top of that other best of 3 that's still to follow afterwards as well.
And if Newteam do really well early on here, do they then upgrade their name? Do they become a more experienced team?
Amateur team next,
Amateur team.
Yeah, they just slowly change the name. As,
every week they're like, we're just leveling up our team name as we go.
Yeah. So there'll be amateur team, apprentice team, journeyman team. It's going through like Elder Scrolls rankings now for like skills,
And as they get there, everyone's like, oh my god, their growth has been incredible. When we first saw them, we thought they were going to be the easy team to kill. And now look at them.
And then once they have max level, they just change their logo to like a Skyrim skill set, and it's just Team 100, maxed out.
We are the ultimate boss.
Master team or something like that is what they'll go for. We'll see. I don't even know if you can change your team name on ESL Plays. They might run into some issues with that. Might have to rejoin the tournament a few times for it to work.
we may have fabricated their name changing options, but we can just change the name for them. We'll just start talking.
We'll work with the admins. We'll make it work. Yeah. All right. It's just
have the power.
Little back end change up. Little F12 on the page. Just change some text. Good to go.
Now, hopefully the players will be good to go very soon as well. I think that's one thing, right, when I look at how these players are doing VR League. You can see they want to get straight in there, want to get started, but then we have some of these things where you're like, okay, we're just going to wait out a little bit, make sure we got all the settings right. Maybe a player crashes out the lobby or something like we saw earlier. And it's when we look at other games and other games that we both commentate, is these players are very much used to this. But some of these players who are doing in VR League, some of this is we spoke to them, right? Some of their first competitive games.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the case for today as well. So like I said, it's a lot of learning experiences, I think, for some of our players here. They might be getting their first taste of a live match overall, of trying to maintain composure and more importantly communicate in these very, very fast-paced situations. I mean, you're seeing how quickly players can get melted here if they end up in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So you have to be able to respond to that quickly, relay information to your teammate, make sure either they don't die or can trade out appropriately. And that's proven proving so far relatively hard to do for some of our teams. So I think it's going to take a week or two as we start to see teams get a little bit more comfortable with not only the game itself, but their prospective teammates. And we'll eventually start to see more synergy and hopefully, obviously, some much closer games too. But that was a really good example right there of a much closer game. We saw them going back and forth for a little bit. The guys, the representation coming in from Europe here also had a pretty good chance to come back. They were down. It was looking like they were only going to be down by like 1 frag at one point in the match there, but unfortunately ended up kind of losing their path, and that's when we saw Newteam strike back and really take the lead towards the end, and ended up winning, I believe, like 10-6 or something like that.
Oh, that's the thing, right? It was getting really close, but it came down to the round time. So that's one thing you also have to be aware of. You can go in for the kills all you like and be trying to get to that 15-point mark, but also keep an eye on that time and think, okay, how long have we got left? Can we play it slow down? Because you might just rush into it and then lose your lead.
Well, guys, looks like we're getting pretty close to starting here. We've moved past the original ready lobby. We're now in the second lobby. There's like a 2-tiered lobby system here where everybody just joins. Then they go in, they shoot the... I like this. They get to shoot the map select. I've never seen that before in a game where you literally just... Yeah, where you just go into the menu and you get to shoot it what map you want. And that's how you vote for the map. And I think the more you shoot it, the more votes it gets. Obviously, it's like limited to a certain degree, but... Imagine just being the guy that just spams like 100+ votes for something. Like you just really want to. Yeah.
She's just sat there railing it out. Come on, give me this map.
Just flying around. He's practicing his aim.
This is mine.
Well, we do have it ready to go now, folks. Let's head in game. It's our second map between these two teams, Skull and Guns. That's where we are going to end up at. More of a kind of an outside type of map. You can see there's a few caves to float through, but also a lot of open area, I think, for our players to play into. Same overall strategy going to be used at least by our blue team, which, of course, once again is blue team here. They are going to be going to try and lock some of these players down early on. We've already got Salder moving in, not with the sword just yet, but a nice turnaround there from Tomo, was able to swing himself back up. It's going to go down to a 1v1 here. Fio looking to finish things off, and he just barely comes out on top of the original battle, giving his team the 1-0 lead right now.
Yeah, Newteam straight away goes to 1-1, and it's all about who can get that second kill and take that control, take that advantage. And Newteam, they would have the lead at least for now, but low on health is Fio. He does have to be careful. He's going to try to pick it back up, and it's slowly being boosted here, but is it going to be enough to keep him going? He needs to be with his teammate as well. And this is going to be a little bit harder to do that sword play, right? Unless you're fighting within the caves. A nice bit of damage coming out there from Amazing Odin. Tomo Poland's going to finish him off, but instantly Newteam able to reply. Heavy fire coming his way. He's trying to keep him at bay. More damage being done, and that's going to give us a 4-2 lead for Newteam. They're still coming out in these 2v2s just on top.
It's coming down very much to the wire, though. Space Vrath just needs a little bit more damage in these fights, and they'll be going to be able to push over the edge. We've got their players respawn back out onto the map here now. A little bit of armor probably going to pop up in a second here for Fio to pick up. Tomo fighting a little bit of gold armor to work with here as well. Meanwhile, Odin gets a full kit. He's going to need it. Fio jumping directly on top of him, trying to do some DPS. Fortunately, bypasses him for the most part, and the extra shield ammo, the extra shields that he has here is really making up the difference. We see Saldert, though, moving in, already striking one more time with the sword as he picks up one kill, trying to swing back around on the Tomo. Does he have the health? Oh, just a sliver left at the end of it as Saldert gets yet another kill with the energy sword.
2v1. Pressure being applied to him, extremely low health, and he still manages to slash them both down. This man is loving the sword, and he is bringing the pain. Once again, Space Vrath, they are on the back foot, 3 frags down, but they can easily find their way back into this. They've been making it competitive, but I need to see them do the teamwork a little bit better here, right? Be able to get the fragging onto one player, both focusing on him and try and win out these 2v2s, because when we're seeing these duels, it's always Newteam that have that slight lead.
Well, Tomo heading up for high ground control right now just to get overwatch on the rest of the map and figure out where exactly he's got the members of Newteam hiding out. They've got a lead right now, but it's one that can be easily broken if we see a clean team fight win from Space Vrath. Something that, unfortunately, I don't believe they've been able to accomplish so far just yet in the map. They can see those scans coming out, though, and we're going to be able to kind of track things down a little bit more as a result of that. Unfortunately, it seems like neither team is able to spot. That's going to change now, though. Tomo kind of unloading with the LMG, trying to deal some early damage onto these players, but not finding a whole lot of connections. However, you can see Saldert trying to close the gap once again. He's always trying to play close range, and it doesn't work out. Fio is able to trade with the Ricochet as he moves in, takes down Odin. Looking for a second one. He's been able to slow down his opponent. Doesn't bring out the sword right there to try and take him down, but it's going to come very close to the wire. And once again, Fio for Newteam wins it, putting Newteam up to 8 kills overall now.
And you saw that from Soldier. He went in for the sword, got taken down. There was just too much space to work with there for Space and Vrath. They managed to push themselves away and say, okay, we can keep you at bay a little bit. But even then, Fio, he comes out on top. He manages to keep that lead for him. And despite getting a few kills now, the Newteam are the ones who are large and in charge.
Scan going directly on top of Tomo and Odin there. They're going to have to be careful. They could get jumped on very easily. Theo going to be sliding down into the arena here. Saldert, however, in the pits, already finding one pickup on the sword. Switches back over to his weapons to be able to pick up the second one as he knocks out Tomo. 2 more consistent kills up on the board for Newteam as they lead 10-4.
And they're keeping themselves nicely healed up here every single time, getting those kills and then being on top of the pickups. They're going to make this one look very convincingly. 1 minute remains. And the question is Vrath, how do they deal with this? How do they go in together? Theo, using the shield to the best of his ability, gets close range of it. Going to continue to do some damage, but it's Tomo of Poland who's able to put him down. Doesn't mean it's over just yet, but they've got 4 frags to find if they want to try and even it up with 44 seconds just to go.
Yeah, that's going to be the big problem here is the lack of time for these guys to be able to play with. Lack of time to really catch up. They need 2 clean team wipes. They've got to make sure their opponents don't outpace them either and end up hitting max score by the end of that timer either. Probably not going to be the case just due to how passive both these teams have been playing so far into this one. But as you can see, time is running incredibly low. Not a whole lot left for our guys to play on. Theo going to start pushing his way and gets a little bit of an armor pickup. 2 shards for him to work with here now after he's gone for 4 overall pickups. But he misses the mark, ends up floating it a little bit too slowly. Saldert makes 1 kill pickup work, but he'll get traded a moment later, giving another frag over to his opponents. Theo still alive, but so is one of the last members of Space Vrath, and it's not looking like they're going to be able to find each other so easily. Amazing Odin backed up, and Theo gets jumped on. He's going to get absolutely melted. Tomo finally getting a sword kill for himself, but it will not matter. Newteam still takes map number 2, and the 2-0 closeout on the series with it, winning 11-8.